Hello and welcome. It's the art and science of designing buildings and other structures that live for years, decades, sometimes even centuries. Architecture is all around us, and with the rapid urbanization of our small towns and cities, the demand for it is only growing. So the chances of making it big in this field are, of course, rapidly increasing with each passing year as sustainability now becomes the buzzword. Kriti Mathur finds out what it takes to design our homes and cities.
When you look around you and marvel at the skyscrapers, high-rises, houses, office spaces, or neighborhoods, and go back a few centuries and admire historical monuments that defy age and time, it is important to remember that all that started from all this. An architect's notepad. Rapid urbanization has transformed the face of our cities and small towns over the last few years. And along with real estate, the demand for architects has also been on the rise. The country has close to 50,000 registered architects, but requires at least 5 lakh, according to the Council of Architecture. A gap that's waiting to be filled. So if you think design is your strength, here's how to go about it. To get through an architecture institute, one needs to take an entrance exam. Most architecture courses in the country are 5 years long, including a semester where students are encouraged to intern with an architecture firm. While getting into a top architecture school is step one, the going gets tougher once you are in.
The Guinness Book of World Records says the most difficult education to have is architecture. It is more difficult than medicine. And I think the easiest part of the difficulty is the hard work. The hardest part is emotional. 80% design is emotional. See, you work all night, you work 2 nights, you bring your project, you pin it up, you're basically laying yourself bare, and your jury member comes, look at it for 1 minute and says a critical comment. Your mind is already switched off. You don't even know whether this comment was meant as a dialogue or as a criticism in a negation. And you work 200 hours on a drawing, and the person says your basis of making the drawing is wrong, and the student has to go back and start the drawing again. It takes a lot of emotional maturity.
The job of an architect involves design, striking the right balance between aesthetics and practicality, and ensuring the environmental feasibility of a project. They work closely with their client from start to finish of a project to balance the client's ideas, budget, and time frame with a host of other construction professionals, including surveyors and engineers. Though a background in science does definitely help, good mathematical skills are a must in this profession.
The assumption is that you have a very good hand, creative hand, that would help. My belief is what really helps is that you have the willingness to be articulate. I have a lot of students who will come and say, but I'm not very good at maths. Will I still be able to make a good architect? And I'm sure, not a problem.
Architecture is therefore a mix of sciences and the humanities. Knowledge about history, anthropology, and the environment are an asset to have in this profession, along with the technical skills. So if you're up for a challenge and love designing, look no further and welcome yourself into the world of architecture. In New Delhi with Mohammad Arif, Kriti Mathur for NDTV.
And where are tomorrow's architects getting their inspiration from? What are the expectations of architecture students? Let's find out.
We're with some architecture students at Sushant School of Architecture. Some of them are 4th years and some of them are 1st years. And we're just going to get an idea of why they took architecture, and from the 4th years, what they feel now that they've almost completed their degree and what they're doing for their thesis. They're doing some pretty crazy stuff, and you must hear about that. So I'll start with you. How's it going, your 1st year? Why did you choose architecture, and is it matching up to your expectations?
I've been studying architecture for the past 10 months almost, and it's been tough. I mean, I didn't realize I was doing medical before. I started with medical in 11th, and I didn't realize it would be that tough. It's tougher than medical, it's tougher than anything I could ever imagine it to be. And honestly, I've always just been fascinated by the built environment, and I can't really give you that much of an idea because I've never thought about it that much.
The kind of experience you get during the whole course is a mixture of all kinds of things, from personality development to fine arts to design to the actual foundation of the whole buildings and everything. So that is something which is very interesting.
You guys are in fourth year. Why do you think it's so tough for students who are studying in class 12 or 11 who want to get into architecture? What would you say to them?
It's more of a matter of choice. So if you have chosen architecture for yourself, you need to be prepared it's going to be tough. And it's more or less it's the daily work, that the daily submission that's actually pressing. But I think if it's your passion, then there's nothing beyond it. You can do it.
What I feel is that you should like basically concentrate on your 12th boards and then get to architecture. Like you have that gap, like the 2-month gap, so you should like probably take coaching like we guys did for architecture. I mean, it's a prerequisite to have a good hand, but like I still feel that you can still do that 2-month gap you have in between. You can probably work it out in that gap.
So you guys are in fourth year. What are you doing for your thesis? What are you designing?
For my thesis, I'm designing the Delhi Secretariat because the present Secretariat projects an image of insulation, of grandeur, of being away from the people. It's like a ruler and the ruled. The place where I've chosen to build it is the plot in front of Ramlila Maidan. The idea is that those in power are accountable. So directly trying to show that through design.
For my thesis, I'm designing a fashion center, but the main aim of doing it is to propagate fashion as a form of art. And this is done in a manner so that it kind of infuses an absolutely new outlook to a core industrial power plant as a design center.
For my thesis, I'm doing a crematorium, okay? So that you just raised an eyebrow, okay? So the fact that there is this unconscious rejection to such spaces, so I'm trying to deal architecture, like take architecture as a tool and like try working out these crematoriums as a whole system, and like I'm trying to work it within the city, not outside the city, because these spaces are always seen outside the city next to a river. But what I'm trying to do is that how does the city like react to such spaces, and like try to work out a system where people can like the areas of remembrance.
Right, that's what students think. But now for a reality check. What do top employers look for? Are they in line with the skills developed by the students? How do employers decide who makes the cut?
An architect must bring creativity in a balanced time frame to the table. The industry is now looking for architects who can contribute in terms of, our cities are in any case bursting at their seams. New structures must not be eyesores. New properties must blend in with their environments, yet be iconic. So the industry is looking for that format of design, where we blend with the atmosphere, and we also have a certain amount of iconic design, things to look forward to. We're trying to create downtowns out of concrete messes.
Right, and our expert Usha Albuquerque with us. Thanks very much, ma'am, for joining us. The demand, of course, for architects, you're seeing this age that we are living in. You can't drive anywhere in this country now and not see these buildings come up. There's so much construction. There's just so much of it all around us. I would imagine that there would be a demand also. That's
increasing, and it's certainly one country where it is increasing. In the West, this is not so much, but here in developing countries like ours, China, there is a huge demand. Yes, necessarily so.
I just want to talk a bit, ma'am, about sustainability also. When you read up now about architecture, the one thing that there seems to be the buzzword, not really in fashion or in vogue, but something that people are taking very seriously and focusing on is sustainability.
Oh yes, they're looking at today, there's a whole concept of green buildings. And in any case, architects have to build within an environment. You don't just put a structure in the middle of anywhere, irrespective of how beautiful it may be. Unlike the Taj Mahal, which could just come up there and look stunning, irrespective of all the years that have gone by. But today, you have to be conscious of the environment. And I think architects much more so, because they work in sustainability. They're looking at how do you maximize. There's only limited amount of light and air and cool, or heat that you can get. And how can you maximize that?
So let's get started right away with queries coming in. Tanya has a question. Go ahead, Tanya.
The question I'd like to ask is combining a management degree with architecture a good idea?
Yes, Tanya, I would say that it really depends on what you want to do. If you want to stay in the field of architecture, then I think it might be better for you to either start working or specialize in a particular area of architecture, whether it's urban design, whether it's landscape, whether it's restoration, conservation, and there are many, many specializations that you can take up. If you want to actually get a management degree in line or in link with your architecture, I would think an MBA in construction management may be an ideal, because that's really an area where a lot of students may want to move on to, where they then handle their own practice, move into the development part where you're actually working with civil engineers and contractors and developing, taking on the whole kind of complex that you set up. If on the other hand you want to move out of architecture and into something like management, then it just becomes like a base degree that you use to do, and then you can go on to anything else. And the other thing I'll say is that sometimes students want to move on to management because they feel architecture doesn't give them the kind of remuneration that management will. And that's the primary reason why many want to get it.
Is that correct though?
Yes, because when you start out in architecture, the salaries are not great.
I see.
They're actually quite low.
Right.
And plus the work is also, you're just doing very mundane line drawing work because you're learning on the job. And somebody else may design the building and you just got to carry out all the drawings for them. But it's really a gestation period. And if you're interested in the field and your heart is there, absolutely. I would say just stay the course, because you're going to actually do very well in the future, and you will certainly get a better remuneration as you go up the ladder.
Absolutely. That's of course like we've been discussing in most fields.
And as one architect, the student told me, she said, the best thing I can say for my CV, which many can't, is when I can tell people, if you look at that building, that's something I was involved in or I've designed. She says, how many others can put their CVs out on for everybody to view?
That would be quite priceless, actually. Well, let's move on to a question from Daksh. Go ahead, Daksh.
Hi, my name is Daksh, and I want to ask this question, that whether we should gain experience before going for our postgraduate courses, and how do we decide which field to specialize in for the postgrad, because we haven't specialized in anything in our undergraduate course.
Right, so he seems a bit confused, ma'am. What would you say to Daksh?
I would say, Daksh, work experience is ideal, and I would say more because you might not want to specialize, you might want to look at different areas that, as we said, there are so many areas of specialization that you can get into. So ideally, once you've finished your B.Arch degree, work for a couple of years before you go on to a post-graduation. Today, architecture is a long course. It's a 5-year program. So to all intents and purposes, you don't require a post-grad. Unless you want to get a qualification which you're going to use as a certification to move into a particular line. It's really your work experience that gets you to whichever field you may want to work in. Plus, the course itself, it's a 5-year course, but 1 semester is spent as an internship. So you are doing an internship, getting the experience, and very often students who want to get into a particular line take an internship in the line that they may be interested in, and that gives them the kind of exposure that they may be looking for. But work experience is always, it helps you to, to get a hang on things that are happening, to give you, the experience that will enable you to look at the way work is done and
see the nuts and bolts really
absolutely,
of whichever
and
industry you're,
help you.
Industry you're part of. Well, Rohini goes next. Rohini, you have a question?
My name is Rohani, and I wanted to ask whether it makes sense to go abroad for internship during the 5th year in my undergrad.
I would say that to go abroad for internship, firstly, I don't know how easy it is to get a work visa to do an internship abroad. And even if that were possible, I don't think there are many employers that will take on interns from India or from an architectural school in India. But if you are looking for an internship or some kind of exposure, I would say go and do a postgraduate degree abroad, and that would give you the kind of exposure that you're looking at.
Well, that's it then. We run out of time, ma'am. Thanks very much for joining us, and I hope that does answer all your architecture queries. But ma'am, one question for you. We've got this email question from Kostav, who says, I'm interested in robotics and artificial intelligence. However, my parents want me to first pursue engineering and then continue to what I've planned. So could you tell me which engineering course out of electronics and computer science will be a better option in my case and will be of more help in the sector I aspire to be a part of?
Well, Kostav, I think robotics and artificial intelligence is in any case a specialization that requires you to get into a higher level of learning. So it could be done more at the master's or even a PhD level rather than at an undergraduate. So I think it's a little more sensible to do a base engineering degree. It could be in either electronics or in computer science, because both of them actually lead towards learning towards working in robotics. So I think robotics and artificial intelligence, computer science, certain aspects of courses in computer science or even electronics could be a good base.
So between Kaustav and his parents, there can be a meeting of the minds here.
Definitely.
And so doesn't have to be either or. That's perhaps
and there are now many more courses in robotics coming up and in AI, even in India, particularly the IITs and many other institutions are offering these at the postgraduate level.
Right. Kaustav, I hope that answers your question. If you have any more questions out there, or any of you have any clarification that you want Usha to answer, well, remember, you can just send them our way. Well, that's it then. We're slipping into a quick break right now. We're back with more, including the need to preserve our history and the role that architecture plays in it.